Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day one of the Jumpstart Your Fitness Challenge. I am so excited to be doing this with you guys this week, and I hope that you guys are excited, just as excited about it as I am. So why don't we go ahead and get started? I wanted to just first say again, if you have not yet gotten the meal plan, you can still get that. If you will scroll down into the group, or I can add the link again to the comments of this video after it uploads, but there's a link for where you can go and get that meal plan, and you can go ahead and get started. It's okay. I know today's Monday, but it's okay if you haven't done your shopping yet and you're not quite on the ball. It's not too late, okay? So if anyone does have any questions about the meal plan and the meals for today, please don't hesitate to ask. If you would like for me to suggest an alternative to a food that you just don't do, or you have allergies or whatever, please feel free to let me know. And then also the workout for today, if you haven't seen the post yet, is a HIIT workout. Now, I don't know if everyone knows what HIIT is. It stands for High Intensity Interval Training, and we'll actually talk a little bit more in depth about that tomorrow, so I don't want to, go too much on that right this moment. But if weight loss is your goal, then you absolutely have to do cardio, period. That's just the way it is. And HIIT is the most effective way to burn fat, period, bar none. It just is. There's scientific studies behind the method of it, why it works, why it's so effective, and it is. I'm here to tell you it is. As a pharmacist, I'm kind of geeky in that way, in that I like to read studies of, how things work and the inner workings of things, and actually read those studies. And so I've done a lot of reading about interval training and high intensity interval training, and because that interests me, and yeah, it works. Okay, there's science behind it. So if anyone has questions about the particular HIIT workout for today, the key is you have to become breathless. If you're not becoming breathless, then it's not going to be as effective. Okay, and becoming breathless is different for everyone. Okay, so the interval that I've listed, and the moves to do for that particular interval, it may be, you may not have to take it as hardcore as I'm showing you to do it to become breathless. You may be able, if everyone's fitness is at a different level, so you may be able to not have to, jump up in the air to still become breathless. You need to modify and take it at your pace and do it whatever's going to make you breathless, okay? As long as you become breathless, that's all that matters, all right? And then take your appropriate rest and then do it again. And you can't rest too long in between. You've got to go ahead, and you'll become more breathless as you keep going because of the short rest periods. Okay, so let's just go ahead and dive right into the topic for today. We're going to talk about nutrition. As anyone knows, when you're trying to lose weight, it's all about nutrition. 80% of your results, when you're trying to lose weight, 80% of your results are in the kitchen, not in the gym. I'm telling you, no matter how hard you exercise, no matter how intensely you exercise, you cannot out-exercise a bad diet, period. You just can't. If you're not watching and dialed into what you're putting into your mouth on a daily basis, no matter what you're doing in the gym, it's not going to matter, okay? Nutrition is where it's at. It's 80% of your results. So with that being said, let's talk about 15 foods or food groupings that you really, really want to avoid wherever possible at all costs if weight loss is your goal, okay? All right, so the first one is sugary drinks. Yes, I'm talking about Coke and Pepsi and sweet tea and all that stuff. Sugary drinks. Sugar is actually the single most worst ingredient in the American diet. Our diet is full of it. Why? Because when you drink sugar calories, then your brain doesn't register that as actual food, and you're not satisfied, and you will continue to want to have more calories as the day progresses. So if you start by drinking those empty calories, not satisfying your brain still thinks you haven't had anything, you will not adjust your meals throughout the day to account for those calories that you drank, and you will actually end up consuming more calories throughout the day. And those are empty calories. So, why waste your calories on drink? That's what I mean, my mindset has always been, I don't waste my calories on drinks, period. I just don't. Plus, not to mention that you'll cause sugar spikes, insulin spikes, and then you get the sugar crash following that, where then you're again craving food. That's just the way your body metabolism works, okay? When you start to crash, your body craves food, and most of the time, it's going to crave the junk food, okay? So the next food is pizza. I know, I love pizza too. It is probably one of the best foods that's ever been created. In my opinion, it is. I do love it. However, that being said, when you're trying to lose weight, it is nothing but calories and fat. And the crust is full of refined flour, which is the kind that sends your blood sugar skyrocketing up with the crash right back down when you're done. Huge insulin spike with that. And the meats are usually processed, which is not a good thing. It's just way too many carbs for one serving, okay? And we're going to talk later about the right foods and the right portion. And pizza is just way too many carbs for one serving. So you will store what you're eating as fat when you're eating pizza. There's no way to avoid it. And it's also too much cheese, okay? And it's not low-fat cheese that they're using, I'm quite certain. So your alternative here is to make your own pizza. Make your own healthy version of pizza. If you're craving pizza, then make your own, okay? There's lots of good ways you can do it. You can use a pita. You can use a whole wheat tortilla. There's some really good recipes for cauliflower crust pizza and sweet potato crust pizza. I actually have those two recipes on my blog. I do have a website. It's www.pambarefoot.com. And if you go to that website and you click on my blog, my previous blog, I used to have another blog, and all my recipes and everything are on the old blog, which I transferred over to this website. So go under my previous blog and you can find a lot of different recipes there. Okay, so the third food, so we said sugary drinks, pizza. The third food is white bread, okay? And again, I think we all know the reason here. It's that refined flour. It gives you it's a high glycemic index food. It gives you a quick boost in energy, sugar spike, all of that. And it's basically empty calories. There's no nutritional value to white bread, okay? There's not. Whole grain bread is a little less. It's better, just a little bit better. It's really still not even all that great, because it does still give you a significant bump. It's not like the lowest glycemic index food out there. It's just not. But at least it does have some nutritional value, and it does provide fiber and stuff like that. But really the best choices would be something like corn tortillas or whole wheat tortilla, something like that. Ezekiel bread is a really good choice too, especially if you're trying to stay away from gluten. But anytime you can avoid the pure white refined and go with whole grain, that's your better option, because there's more nutrition there, and at least it's full of fiber, which keeps you fuller longer, and the sugar crash is not quite as fast and furious, okay? The next thing, number 4, is fruit juice. I know, you think to yourself, fruit juice should be healthy because it's juice. It's full of vitamin C and antioxidants and all that. Well, that may be true, but you have to sort of weigh out the amount of vitamin C or antioxidants that you're getting from a serving of juice, weighed out to how much sugar you're also getting from that, and what other types of nutrition that you're getting from that juice. It's not worth it. It's not worth the sugar and calories that you're taking in when you drink juice. You'd be much better off to eat a piece of fruit and drink some water with it, okay? Because at least when you eat the piece of fruit, you're getting more nutritional value. Number one, way more vitamin C with a real piece of fruit versus juice. And you're also getting fiber, okay, at the same time, which keeps you fuller longer. Those are your tricks, okay? The next one is vegetable oils, canola oil, industrialized vegetable oils. Those are horrible. And they really didn't even exist in our culture until, I don't know, 60, 70, something like that. I mean, not as prevalent. And now everything you eat, everything you buy in the store, just about that's processed, has these in it. A code word for it is partially hydrogenated soybean oil, or partially hydrogenated oil, or hydrogenated oil, anything like that. It's these fake oils. It's not real food, okay? And it basically is something that your body does not know how to metabolize. Another word for it is trans fat. You've heard of trans fat, I'm sure, that term. And your body does not know how to metabolize that. It doesn't know what to do with that when it comes into your body. So what does it do? It says, oh, I'm not sure what this is that she's just given me, but it seems dangerous, so I'm going to hide it away here in this fat cell. And so that's what your body does with it. It puts it in a fat cell and stores it so that it gets it out of your bloodstream thinking it's protecting you, and tries to, preserve your function in that way, okay? Now, here's the problem. When you are storing that toxic substance, or the substance, foreign substance that your body doesn't know what to do with, as in your fat cells, your body is then going to do everything it can to prevent and fight against that fat cell ever being broken down and, eliminated, so that substance doesn't get out into your bloodstream again. Okay? Am I making sense here? And this is the same thing with all the artificial ingredients and preservatives and all that stuff. Your body doesn't know what to do with it. Your body doesn't know what it is, so it hides it away in fat cells. Okay? And that's why when you go through detox at times, like if any of you have ever done like a sort of a detox diet or something like that, and you feel way worse before you feel better, it's because you are actually maybe breaking down some of those fat cells that have those foreign and bad toxins in it, and they're coming out back. They're being reintroduced into your bloodstream. But like I said, your body is fighting that. Your body fights that process. So the best way to not store that stuff as fat is to not eat it to begin with. Okay, and I know it's hard because everything we buy these days is processed and has artificial ingredients and these partially hydrogenated oils. Okay, so the alternative here is extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, real butter. No margarine. In fact, that brings me to the next food. The next food is margarine. You should avoid margarine. It's highly processed. It's not real food. It's full of artificial ingredients. It's full of trans fats, and your body doesn't know what to do with it. The alternative, real butter. Okay? I'm serious. The seventh grouping of food or foods is like cookies, cakes, pastries, all that store-bought, Little Debbie's and cookies and stuff like that. All of those things are loaded. They're highly processed and loaded with the partially hydrogenated oils, and they're also loaded with all kinds of artificial ingredients. Your best bet, if you've got a sweet tooth for that, is to make something homemade yourself and find you a good recipe that's not quite so unhealthy, and satisfy your sweet tooth that way, because you are filling your body with nothing but artificial crap when you eat the store-bought junk. Okay, I'm just telling you, there's no nutrition in it. It's empty calories, completely empty calories, full of shortening, refined sugar, all of that. The next food is French fries and potato chips. I know French fries is my weakness, and I love potato chips too. And this one is really hard to stay away from on a all the time, obviously. And for all of this, guys, let me just go off on a quick tangent here. I want to tell you that I do operate on sort of an 80-20 rule. And what that means is that you can't stick with and be perfect with your eating 100% of the time. You just can't. No one can. We're all human. Nobody's perfect. And if you set up the expectation that you have to stick with it 100% of the time, then you're going to fail and you're going to quit and you're not going to stick with it, okay? And this should be this should be a mindset. This should be a lifestyle change. And for anything to be something that you can stick with long term and to actually be a lifestyle change, it's got to be something you can live with, okay? And for you to be able to live with it, you've got to let yourself have the things that you know you shouldn't every now and again, okay? So I say, you try to do really well and eat right 80% of the time, and 20% of the time, if you indulge, that's okay. That is okay. You've got to forgive yourself and move on, and know that it's a long-term life choice. And what you're doing 80% of the time, that consistency will override the rest. And that's going to be where your results come from. That's my long-term thinking, okay? But what I will say too is this, and I wholeheartedly believe this as well, that is perfect for maintenance. And living that 80-20 way, you will maintain whatever you have achieved, okay? But if you're in the mode where you want to lose weight, you've got that last 10 pounds you want to get off, or you're trying to bust a plateau or something like that, if you're in that frame of life at this particular time, then you can't go 80-20. Then you've got to really, really be disciplined, and you've got to do it consistently for, at least, well, I say 21 days because I think that's the perfect amount of time to see results and stay disciplined long enough. Anyone can stick to something for 3 weeks, right? And really focus your mind and say, okay, I'm not going to cheat for 3 weeks. I can do that, but no one can say I'm never going to cheat again for the rest of my life. I mean, that's just not realistic, right? So all that being said, when I'm talking about avoiding these foods, I'm talking about completely wiping them, for a period of time. And then you go to an 80-20 type of lifestyle and mode and thinking where it's okay every once in a while to, have those things. Okay? Am I making sense? Okay. So let's move on. French fries and potato chips. Those are my favorites too. Like I said, those are high in calories. It's way too easy to eat more than a serving's worth. So that's another reason why to just leave them alone and don't even pull them out, because nobody can eat just one. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. You can't. And again, it's full of empty calories, processed, artificial ingredients, and they're just not worth it. Your alternative would be to make homemade baked fries. White potatoes are actually not a bad food. They're not sweet potatoes, maybe a slightly lower glycemic index, meaning a slightly lower insulin spike, but white potatoes are still good for you. So you can slice up potatoes and bake them in the oven and make your own French fries. You can do that with sweet potatoes. You can do that with butternut squash. And that's actually really yummy, butternut squash fries. Okay, so the next thing is artificial sweeteners. I know I said it. This one is a really hard one for me too, because I love Diet Coke, Diet Mountain Dew, all that stuff. It's full of aspartame, or Coke Zero is full of Splenda, and that is not good for you. Those particular ingredients do what I told you. They go into those fat cells and they're stored because your body doesn't know what to do with aspartame or Splenda. It just doesn't know what to do with it. And I'm guilty. I drink it. I try to cut it out. I try really hard, and I can go through periods where I can cut it out, but I can't cut it out forever. But the best choice would be obviously drinking water, anything with stevia. Stevia is your choice when trying to stay away from the artificial sweeteners. Go with stevia, okay? The next one is store-bought low-fat yogurt. I know that seems like that would be, hey, Alyssa, how are you? I know that seems like that would be a really good and healthy choice, but honestly, when you go with the store-bought yogurts, they are full of sugar. They're full of sugar, and it doesn't outweigh the amount of goodness that there is. The low-fat yogurts, they trim out all the healthy and natural fats and replace it with a bunch of junk and sugar. So what your better alternative is to go with Greek yogurt, because you do get at least a higher bang for your buck with the increased protein content, and really just to not even get the flavored ones. You should buy fruit separately and mix it yourself. And if you sometimes there is a little bit of a bitter taste, I agree. You can add a little packet of stevia because, again, you're trying to avoid those artificial sweeteners and all that sugar that they add, and you still want the healthiness and the protein. That's your better option there. Okay, so the next food is low carb junk foods. I know, like when Atkins became very popular, they came out with all sorts of like low carb junk foods, but just remember this. Even if it's a low carb junk food, it's still junk food. You still don't need it. And the low carb junk foods are even more full of processed stuff because basically it's not real food. It's food that has been processed and engineered to be similar to what some junk food that we're used to eating, okay? It's empty calories, no nutritional value, just a bunch of artificial ingredients mixed together and sold as food, okay? That's my feelings on that. So the next one is processed meat and processed cheese. When you're trying to lose weight, you should really try to avoid processed meat and processed cheese. Processed meat is going to be like your hot dogs and things like that, because when it's processed, it's loaded with those artificial ingredients. There's nitrites too that are not as healthy for you that you should avoid. And the same for the processed cheese. The processed cheese contains filler ingredients and it's engineered to look like cheese and feel like cheese, but it's not cheese. Okay, it's not real cheese. It's not got the healthy dairy and the protein that real cheese has. All that nutritional value is stripped away when they process it and they fill it back with filler ingredients that don't do anything for your body. And like I said, your body says, what's this foreign substance, and stores it in a fat cell and does everything it can to keep it in that fat cell and not have it re-released into your bloodstream. This is your body's continuous cycle day in and day out, trying to get rid of the unhealthy, fake, artificial preservatives and colors and ingredients that we shove into our mouths. It tries to take it out. It stores it as fat and then does everything it can to keep it there and not have it reintroduced into your bloodstream. The struggle for your body is real. Okay, so moving on. We just did low carb junk foods, processed meat and cheese, and the next is fast food. I don't even probably really need to go into why we need to avoid fast food. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. It's junk food. It's zero nutritional value. I know it's cheaper oftentimes than going to like a Panera Bread or something like that, but the pennies that you will save by going to McDonald's, you will pay for later in life because you know what, being unhealthy is not, it costs a lot of money to have poor health in the long run. It really does. There are, even McDonald's though lately, you know, they've got healthy choices on the menu. So, you know I have to take my kids there too sometimes, and there's a couple of salads that aren't so bad. Just be smart, you know, that kind of thing. So the next one is the high-calorie coffee drinks. I know we all love our Starbucks and all of that. And coffee is actually very good for you. It's got lots of antioxidants in it. Not right now, Belle. Okay, shh, not right now. Coffee is full of antioxidants. It has artificial... The problem, though, with what... I'm sorry, she got me off track. The problem is what we put in it that then turns it into basically sludge for our bodies when we pour all kinds of artificial sweeteners, which we've already talked about, and high-calorie creamers and all of that stuff. If you can... Here's what I do to drink my coffee. I use stevia, because we already talked about that, and I actually pour unsweetened almond milk in my coffee instead of creamer. I used to use skim milk, but then I discovered unsweetened almond milk, and that actually, I like it even better. I love the taste that it gives. Actually, coconut milk is really good too, but it's actually lower in calories and fat and everything than, you know, even skim milk. And actually, there's a lot, this is another little tangent, sorry. There's a lot of controversial data out there about drinking skim milk versus whole milk, and I'm really torn. I mean, whole milk is actually more healthy for you. With skim milk, they skim all the healthy stuff off. So honestly, I think you'd be better off to drink a small amount of whole milk versus drinking just skim milk, because you miss all the nutrition, the vitamin D and the calcium and all that when you don't drink whole milk. But you do get too much fat and sugar when you drink whole milk. So I believe it's all about the portion on that. So the last grouping, and basically I've sort of been talking about it all along, is processed foods in general. Anything that comes in a box from the middle aisles of the grocery store that's been processed or manufactured, just try to avoid it, okay? Like we talked about, 21 days. I mean, obviously I know you can't avoid processed food every minute of your life for the, this day going forward forever and ever. But, just remember the 80-20 lifestyle like we talked about. And, always realize that when you're eating the processed foods and putting the artificial ingredients into your body doesn't know what to do with that. Okay? It doesn't know how to metabolize it. And so just always say to yourself, what's my body going to do with this? It's going to store it as fat because it's a foreign object. It doesn't know what to do with it. So it stores it as fat. And then it's really hard to get rid of it, because your body will release other fat cells that's not storing a toxin a lot quicker than it's going to release a fat cell that is storing a toxin, okay? It views it as a toxin because it's foreign, okay? So this also applies to all kinds of condiments. There are all kinds of condiments that are awful, full of added sugar. High fructose corn syrup is the devil. So ketchup, barbecue sauce, dressings, all that kind of stuff is loaded with processed artificial ingredients, high fructose corn syrup, all that stuff, sucrose. Your best option is to eat whole single ingredient foods, whole grain foods, as much as you possibly can. So if it has an ingredient list, then a long ingredient list, and there's a bunch of weird names that you don't understand, most likely it's not good for you, okay? If you're eating a single ingredient food, it doesn't need ingredient list because it is the ingredient. It is the food. Does that make sense? Okay, so with all that being said, let's talk about the actual right foods that you should feed your body. We talked about 15 different things that you really should avoid if you're trying to lose weight. So let's talk about the right foods. Obviously, vegetables, number one. And you should try to feed your body at least 4 good servings of vegetables every day, 3 to 4. I know if vegetables aren't your favorite, I know it can be hard to incorporate that, but it's just something you've got to work on. And gradually, maybe eating them raw is easier for you. I don't know. There are things you can dip. You can dip in hummus, and I think I've got the homemade ranch dressing on this week's menu, so you can learn that recipe and dip vegetables in that. But I personally love vegetables. I love to steam them and roast them and saute them in olive oil, stuff like that. But this is the container, the serving portion for vegetables, and I eat at least 4 of these every day. 4 vegetable servings. Sometimes I have more. You can never, in my opinion, eat too many vegetables as long as you're not, pouring cheese all over them and stuff like that. So the next thing that we want to make sure that we consume on a daily basis is fruit. Now, I know that probably, if some of you have come from a no-carb mindset, then you might think fruit is evil and that you should stay away from fruit, but that's not true. Fruit is very, very good for you. It's full of fiber, and it's way better for you than drinking the juice or, filling up with other types of low-fat snacks or low-carb snacks or whatever. You'd be much better off to just eat a piece of fruit. And this is the container that I use for my fruits, and I eat 2 to 3 fruits every day. Okay, every day. And they could be frozen fruits too. It doesn't have to be fresh. I do put frozen fruits in my shakes a lot. And I mix frozen fruits with my yogurt a lot because it's hard to always, buy fresh fruit all the time. So, and it is sometimes cheaper to buy them frozen. So like I'll buy a bag of frozen strawberries or frozen raspberries or frozen blueberries. And when I'm leaving to go to work and packing my snacks for that day, I'll serve out my Greek yogurt from the plain Greek yogurt tub. And then I'll just measure out some frozen blueberries and dump it in there. By the time it's ready for me to eat later that day, the blueberries have thawed out. It's perfect. It's yummy. Same with raspberries or anything like that. And so the next thing is protein. And look at the size of the protein compared to the fruits and compared to the vegetables. It's smaller. Yes, it's smaller, but it's still very, very important, the protein, because you need to make sure that you're eating enough protein. And this is one of the biggest lessons that I learned when I sort of took on this lifestyle. I learned that I was not eating enough protein. And let me tell you something about protein. If you are exercising and trying to lose weight and you're not eating enough protein, then you are definitely doing your body a disservice, because if you don't feed it the fuel that it needs when you're exercising, you will actually break down your muscle instead of breaking down fat if you haven't fed your body the right kind of fuel and the right amount of protein. So what I'm saying here, I'm not saying that you're always going to break down muscle, but what I mean is that to lose weight, you actually have to eat food. You can't starve yourself or not eat enough and expect to lose weight. You actually have to eat food. You actually have to eat fat even to lose weight. So that being said, if you're exercising all the time, you have to eat enough protein so that when you start exercising, your body has protein to go to use for energy to build muscle, okay? Because the exercise you're doing, you're trying to build muscle. Your body needs protein to do that. And if there's no protein around, there's no glycogen stores around, your body, you would love for your body to say, hey, I'm going to go tap into these fat stores and, fuel her exercise that way. Unfortunately, your body doesn't do that. I wish it did. The first place it's going to go to, instead of going to your fat stores, is go to the muscle you already have and break it down for energy. Yep. So the key here is eat enough protein, okay? So for me, that basically means I eat protein with every meal or snack pretty much that I have, okay? I need to eat protein at least 4 times a day, and most of you do too, okay? So, and of course, it's got to be a healthy protein. Like in the menu, I think this week, I've given you lots of things like, all sorts of chicken, fish, salmon, shrimp. All of that should, grilled, not fried, obviously. But then other sources of protein that are, a little more easy, like grab and go, like for lunch and taking to work and stuff like that. The tuna packets are really nice. The Greek yogurt, ricotta cheese actually is very yummy and a very good choice. Cottage cheese as well. Hard-boiled eggs, 2 of those, all of that. So here's the next container. This is the carbohydrates, and look at the size of it compared to the others. It's quite small. Now, with carbohydrates, you need carbohydrates. You should not cut carbs 100% altogether, okay? Because your body does need that for fuel. It's the best source of fuel that you can feed your body is carbohydrates, but it needs to be quality carbohydrates, like we already talked about with the whole ingredient, single ingredient, whole grain type of carbohydrates. So beans, any type of bean is great. All the whole grain varieties of bread and whole wheat tortillas and pitas and stuff like that, whole grain, okay? And 2 to 3 of these should really be your max in a day. I know that's really small, and for me that was another huge lesson that I learned. I was not eating enough protein and I was eating too many carbs. Granted, I already ate healthy carbs, but I was still eating too many. And here's the other big, huge one that I learned. Healthy fats. This is your healthy fat portion, okay? Look at this. I mean, this is small. It may look big on the screen, but this blue is smaller than the yellow. The orange is way smaller than the blue. And this is the healthy fat portion. Only one, no matter what calorie bracket you fall into, this is the only amount of healthy fats that you should eat in one day. And that was the other big thing that I was doing wrong. Healthy fats are great for you. And like I said, you have to eat fat to lose weight. Your body does need some amount of fat. But the key is that, or the thing to remember is that they are very high in calories. And there is such a thing of having too much of a good thing. And where healthy fats is concerned, that is the case. You can have too much of a good thing. So, and what are some healthy fats? Avocado, all kinds of nuts, almonds, your hummus, extra virgin olive oil, seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, olives, again, the olive oil, coconut oil, all of that is your healthy fats, okay? And I think I already talked about the 3 biggest important lessons with all of this. I'm just going to highlight those again. If you're under the mindset that you have to eat less and exercise more to lose weight, then that's wrong. That's not correct thinking. You have to eat food to lose weight. But again, it's the right food in the right portion. You have to fuel your body for that exercise that you're doing, okay? And you can't exercise and actually get the results you want without fueling your body properly. So no matter how hard you exercise, if you're not fueling your body, you're just going to be breaking down muscle and not breaking down fat and continuing to store fat, okay? So you have to feed your body the right way, period. That's just it. And then the other second lesson is I wasn't eating enough protein. These are the 3 big things I learned. And the third was too many healthy fats. So this program taught me those things, taught me all the bad things about all those 15 foods that I started with and how to actually feed my body the right way so that I could flip that metabolism switch and finally start breaking down fat stores and burning fat. Okay, because if you don't fuel it just perfectly in just the right proportion of protein, carbs, and fats, you won't be able to break those fat stores down. So you've got to learn that right combination, that right proportion. Okay, so again, if anybody, that's all I have for today. If anybody has any questions about anything that I've said, please feel free to contact me or leave comments or message me or do a post and tag me in it in the group. You know, whatever you want to do, I'm here for you as a resource all week long. So please use me. And I look forward to seeing everyone's post. Remember, there is a challenge. The third challenge, or the third item on the initial post this morning, was your challenge. I asked everyone to share with me privately or with the group. If you're comfortable to do it with the group, then that's fantastic, because that is how we'll all get to know each other and, you know, be able to support each other in that way. But I've asked you all to share with me one of the struggles or your biggest struggle that you have in trying to stick with healthy lifestyle and long-term healthy eating and living. And then also what goal you'd like to achieve by the end of this 5 days. Okay? So share with me that. Remember, those who participate, there will be a prize. I know I'm going to probably give you a choice of what the prize will be, but anyone who participates all 5 days will be entered into the drawing to get the prize. One of the prize choices that you can choose would be like a 7-day supply of Shakeology samples for you to try. You'd end up with 7 days worth. The other is I do have a couple of, quite a few actually, of exercise DVD, like bonus workouts. So you could have your choice of one of those. So I've got quite a few to choose from. So either or, I'm going to let you choose. And I may end up picking 2 winners. We'll just see, I guess, how participatory everyone is. But anyway, I'm looking forward to the week. Again, please feel free to ask me any questions, and let's make it a great day. All right, bye.